Hi you guys, this is Rachel Kirkland, the Modern Shaman, and thanks for being with me for another YouTube question and answer time. Before I dive into the question today, I will just say welcome if you're new to the channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and comment all that your little heart desires, or your big heart desires. Okay. And then if you'd like to find out more about me, about scheduling sessions with me, about any of my classes and kind of what all I'm about, feel free to visit my website, which is themodernshaman.net. Here's the question for today. It says, "Hi Rachel, thank you so much for all that you do. I need some help with the issue of money and spiritual work. I struggle with this because I have also read that the Galactic Council says we are not supposed to ask for money, but to provide services for free, and if someone wants to give us money, that's the only way we're supposed to accept it. If you have any suggestions on this, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you." Okay, so the topic of spiritual work and charging for spiritual work. It's a kind of a hot topic. It's been around for a while. So let's dive into that one. My first thought here is that I want you to know your heart is in the right place. You're starting with a desire to truly honor those that you're helping by not constricting or harming them or making it difficult for them with finances. And I feel like that if the fact that your heart is coming from that place for wanting your work to be pure, wanting it to be clear of any sort of negative energy is a beautiful place to come from. And that's honored, that will be honored. And your clients will feel that, whether it's free or through an offering basis like you shared in your question, or whether you're charging for your services. I do believe that your clients truly will feel your heart's desire and purity even within the financial aspect of your business or of moving into spiritual work. I also feel like this is such a good question because it's a common one for all of us that begin to step into doing spiritual work as a full-time job, as earning our living this way. And I know, at least for myself, I can share that there was a transitionary period for me. Even with money in general, being okay with money, that was a process. But first and foremost, it's not like the relationship with money is different in one area of your life than the other. They all begin to kind of intersperse and intermingle with each other. So my first piece of advice would be to come into a space of alignment and balance with the idea of money, okay? And I'm sharing this from personal experience. That was something I really had to work on. If you know part of my personal story, you know that there was a time when I lived in the inner city and I lived off of like $60 a month. And I mean, I was doing the whole deal, bread lines, and I knew where to get the free bus passes and all of it. And then when I began to work as a teacher and later got employed and was earning more money, I had difficulty letting myself use the money. I gave a lot to various charities. I paid for other kids to get braces. I gave a lot. And there was a sense with that time period in my life of like, I needed to feel like I was giving out as much as I was taking in. And because this seemed like a lot of money from what I was used to receiving in, I had to give out a lot to balance that. Now that was before I was ever married and had kids, so most of the money that was coming in was just for me. And so finding that balance, and I'll just speak from personal experience, but came from me. If I wanted to go get a Starbucks at the beginning, I had real difficulty in my heart space, honestly, with doing that because I knew how much cheaper it would be if I just went to the gas station. You know, in my head, I thought this is a real treat and I could probably buy 4 other people coffee from the gas station if I was to use the same amount of money. So in my head, what I ended up doing just to find my own sense of personal balance was, I told myself if I was going to buy something for myself as a gift, I would buy it for someone else as a gift. So I was always one of those people that just like if I bought myself a Starbucks, I always paid for the person right behind me. Or if I went out to dinner and treated myself or went to the movies or whatever, I would secretly pay for the person that was sitting across from me. Or whatever. I would always find some way to, or tip an incredible amount of tipping, just to where it felt like I was at peace with the amount that I was spending on others as the amount that I was spending with myself. Now that may seem extreme because I had come from such an extreme space before. I had to really balance it within myself. So depending where your kind of starting point is with your perception or your sense of acceptance with money, depends on how you'll have to find balance. But my first piece of advice is to find balance in the giving and receiving area. Okay? I also had to do this majorly when I started pricing my services within my spiritual work. I had to make sure that if I was, however much I was charging, I felt like I was giving away just as many free sessions, doing scholarships for classes, honoring, when I did hospice work, a lot of hospice and death and dying and helping with that, those were, I never charged for those. I had to find a sense of balance within my own work to feel like I was giving as much as I was receiving, okay? And that just takes balancing. The more clients I would bring in, the more I was like, okay, I'm gonna need to start doing, this is when I took up even the YouTube channel. I'm going to start offering, lectures for free, which is basically what these YouTube channels are. They're free types of, not like a session would be, but similar to a lecture time or a little bit of teaching and information and sharing, which is similar to my classes and coursework on psychic development. So I had to find a balance there. Okay, and I do feel like that's the first piece of advice, because that gives your heart a sense of peace with the amount that you're giving and receiving, and there is a true sense of peace that's offered. The second piece of advice I will give you as you're stepping into charging or if you have a desire for that, first of all, I will say that's okay to have a desire to move into this as a career. There is nothing that should be shamed or shunned about that, okay? It is a beautiful honor, and I feel very, very honored that I get to do this and be myself for a living. And with a heart, remember, it's always a state of your heart. If you're embodying a state of gratitude, a state of respect for your clients, they feel it. There is no sense of frivolousness with their money. They are literally providing food on the table for my children, and I am completely grateful. There is a very humble and respectful energy with that. I remember, because it was so profound to me, I had a client one day, and she literally said to me, I think she could feel that I felt guilty charging what I charged, because when I first asked Spirit what I should charge, it was, to me, an astronomical amount. And I thought, oh, this is a crazy amount of money, and I feel uncomfortable asking for this. But when Spirit tells me to do something, I can't not do it. That's part of what the job entails, is following through with the guidance that Spirit has given. So I remember the client literally said to me, Rachel, I would pay good money, even more than this amount, for the services that you offer, and I wouldn't think twice. And she said, I pay way more than this to go to my doctor, to go to my naturopath, to go to my chiropractor, to go to these people that help me stay in balance with my mind, body, and spirit. And you are one of those people. And I view you just like a doctor for my soul. And that shifted a lot within me, realizing that's true. We have no problem paying our doctors. We have no problem paying for things that feel like they bring us into a state of balance with ourselves. And this is truly part of the services that healers and psychics and spiritual counselors and coaches provide. It's a very valuable service for your soul. And I deeply value it. And I know, the few times that I have paid for spiritual counseling or advice, I can count the times on my hand. But I have truly sought it out. I have had no problem being like, here you go, here's the money. I know this is what I need and what I want. And so there's true alignment with that. And I never had any sort of friction on the giving part. So I felt very aligned with what that client shared. And that really released me of any sort of guilt and burden from doing it and moved me into that second piece of advice, which is gratitude. Just having gratitude in a true sense of absolute joy that you get to do what you do for a living, that you get to provide for yourself, for your family through this dynamic. Your clients will feel that. They will feel your love and your appreciation for them beyond the price. They will know, and you can say, thank you for putting food on the table for my children. This is a true gift that I get to do this. It is my total heart and honor to serve in this way and to be able to provide for myself through this means. I am incredibly grateful. Now, you brought up the Galactic Council and using their advice to always offer it for free, and then if someone wanted to kind of give a love offering, and that is a beautiful way of having an energy exchange. But I will say, if you have a need for this money, meaning if you are trying to leave your career or you have children you're trying to support, if you're wanting to move into this full-time, you can just be transparent about that. You don't need to hide that from your clients. You don't need to have a service and then hope they will pay you for it. That energy is more constrictive and frictional and non-transparent in my perspective than just flat out being, this is something I would like to do for a living. This is something that I truly want to put my heart and soul into, and I'm still open to the way that Spirit is going to help manage the financial aspect of it. I'm not clinging to it, but I am being honest and truthful that I want to support myself this way. And I feel like that flow of honesty and openness and transparency is really important when it comes to finances and money and business, because so much of the energy that's felt that we don't like or that we've had negative experiences with others is because there's a sense of deception, or there is an energy of underlying untruth, or like something hidden, or like they're pitching something but they want something else, and this energy that feels like things are misconstrued or not clearly spoken or not completely in their transparency when it comes to finances and money and energy exchange in the workplace or in the business avenue. So to me, it's more valuable to be in that space with your clients of like, this is truly something that I desire, not in a greedy way, but in a way that is providing in a humbling, like, service way of, this is literally providing for my family. This is a beautiful thing, and honoring it as such. There's a deep level of respect and balance found in businesses that are run that way. They truly honor their clients. They respect them, they value, and they know what a gift they are to them. And that is felt on both sides of the spectrum. There's peace in the one that is offering the service, and there is peace in the one that is paying and values that service. So those are my 3 pieces of advice for you, if I can kind of hammer it down. 1 is to find balance within your own understanding of money, your own feeling about how you feel towards money. Number 2 is gratitude and celebrating truly the gift that it is to even be able to do this as a service to others and to be repaid for that service on this planet. And the final thing is, when you hear like the Galactic Council shared their perspective, to truly not make it a rule, but to remember that it's a state of the heart. It's not ever about a hard guideline. It's always going to be about a state of the heart. Guidelines, structures, any sort of system is going to have to be malleable, okay? This is just the day and age that we're in. Structures are not really where our sense of peace and trust is found. Rather, it's in a state of the heart. So if your heart aligns with this structure or this pattern that they've set up, which sounds like a love offering, like giving your services, and then if someone asks or someone desires to give you a payment, then it's received in gratitude. If that structure sits in your heart well and you feel truly in alignment with that, go for it. Make it yours, and it will be a beautiful way of setting up your business. If it doesn't, if you don't truly align with that and you feel like you're forcing yourself into a structure that is not truly authentic and transparent for you, and I would encourage you to be in a space of transparency with your needs, your lifestyle, and I don't feel like that counteracts any sort of spiritual work. If it's in total honesty, sincerity, transparency, and a sense of gratitude. Again, that last and final point is just to remember it's a state of the heart and not so much a hard set rule of that this is a system that we should always do for spiritual work. Find what aligns with your heart in truth and transparency and honesty, and then go from there and go full force. And don't be afraid to change it. Also, if you grow and evolve in that dynamic with your finances, that's also okay. You don't have to have a hard, fast rule all the time. I know that, like I said, sometimes I've heard from Spirit, this person needs a free session, and I'm like, all right, this one does. And you know, just always having a sense of openness to where Spirit is leading you. I think your heart is in the right place, and I would just encourage you to stay true to that. Love you, love you, love you. Mwah. Sending you guys blessings. Stay tuned, and next Friday we'll do another video.